The people that keep leaking them and saying that these have never been seen before, they're lying. Literally, these photos are everywhere. They're not new. There's nothing new that's been revealed. Literally, all these photos that are getting leaked are out. Like they're just recirculating. They're not new at all. Like, there is a Facebook group that was started the day that this whole thing was reported, like when Dee Dee was still missing, and literally all of the photos are there, posted in a Facebook group. Oh yeah, so they were trying to convince me that it all started with Nick, which is a flat out lie. Like, it didn't just start with Nick, right? And then there's this whole other thing that I have to talk to you guys about, and it's Gypsy's microdeletion. Now, I know that there's a lot of people on TikTok that want to say that Dee Dee didn't do anything that was wrong, and that's not true. Dee Dee definitely exaggerated and for sure conned people and took advantage of their kindness by getting free gifts and stuff, and even manipulated doctors into believing things about her daughter that weren't true. There were definitely diagnostic tests that may or may not have had to be done because Dee Dee was a hypochondriac that wanted her daughter to be sick and get attention for it. However, some of the procedures that Gypsy claims were done maliciously by her mom weren't. So the family is well aware that Gypsy has a microdeletion. They've known about this for years. And so when the public comes out, when like a creator comes out and drops this information as though it's like new information, it's not. They've known about this for years. Like Dee Dee told Rod Dee Dee told Rod that Gypsy had this when she was like 2. So they knew about it for a very long time. What Dee Dee did is she knew that this was happening. So she would like learn about what the condition was, and then she would take the symptoms that could happen to people and exaggerate those symptoms and act like her daughter was having all of these symptoms. A small percentage of people that have this microdeletion have seizures, like 12%. It's not a huge percentage. But Dee Dee used that to claim that her daughter was having seizures. Now, there's some speculation that Gypsy was actually having febrile, like fever seizures as a baby, which I don't know if that's true or not. And she also went through a sleep study, which somehow showed that she had sleep apnea. Okay. Now, the behavior symptoms that can happen, this is a very, very, very rare microdeletion. So I want to be extremely clear that there's been no case studies about this deletion. And when someone has something, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a product of the microdeletion. For instance, you could have a microdeletion and not even know it and have asthma. Does that mean that the asthma is a product of microdeletion? No, because a lot of people have asthma. Same with seizures. You can have seizures and not have a microdeletion. What they did when they compiled the information was they just interviewed them and said, are there any health issues that you had? And they could never conclusively tie that the microdeletion actually caused those symptoms. So it's just saying that like what the people that have this deletion, what they've reported. It doesn't necessarily mean that the deletion causes it. So how can you speak on something you have no qualifications to do so? I'm just telling you like what the medical literature says. Like there's a PDF that's out that was put together by an organization for this specific microdeletion. And the report that they put out said that they interviewed people impacted by it. And this is what the people reported. They didn't actually state like the reported symptoms that people had was a direct impact. That's what the report says. So that's what I'm just saying. Like They asked people that have this deletion. There's not been a ton of, no, not on this microdeletion. No, there hasn't. There's like 100 people in the world that have this. Okay. So about 75% of the people that have it have reported that they have developmental disabilities or delays, and missing milestones is not uncommon. A certain percentage of them have reported that they have nystagmus and hearing loss. A certain percentage of them have reported that they have seizures. A certain percentage of them have reported that they have low muscle tone, okay? So Gypsy does have a lazy eye. And if you look at photographs of people that actually have this disorder, Gypsy looks exactly like the people that have this microdeletion. Their eyes are set differently. They have smaller heads. Their facial features are more pronounced. Her lips, like that, her kind of bigger upper like lip, that's a part of it. I don't know how, but the other people that have it, that have photographs, they have very similar, their eyes are set the same way, and small heads. Like microcephaly is a common feature of people that have this. They're also short, yes. Short stature is common with a lot of microdeletions, and she's only 4'11". I want to be clear that Mia's never been diagnosed with this microdeletion. I know that Fancy says that Mia has, but that's not true. Mia has never been diagnosed with it, nor has Dylan. Mia does not have this microdeletion. Gypsy does. Fancy says, like, as fact that Mia has it, and that's not true. I don't know where Fancy got the information from. Mia just has her dad's nose, but Mia does not have this microdeletion at all. I watched Fancy's interview with Tasha K, and she was speaking as though Mia has it, and it's just asinine. Like, she doesn't have Mia's medical records. So, and Mia's never been tested for it. Rod's never been tested for it. Like, they've never had the DNA testing for it. Okay. Nope. She actually has nystagmus, whatever it's called. Nystagmus. That's what Gypsy has. It's not just a lazy eye. She actually has nystagmus or whatever it is. And they have to do surgeries for the eyes. So she did have to have eye surgeries related to actual eye conditions she has. The ears stuff that she got were tubes. So Gypsy had chronic ear infections as a child, and she was seen in the ER and at the clinic, and doctors, by looking in her ears, could see she had infections. Due to her chronic infections, she had tubes placed in her ears, which is pretty common. I mean, my son has had ear tubes. He only had to have them one time. And some people have to get multiple sets. And I think that Gypsy had 3 or 4 sets, which can happen with people that have chronic ear infections. And that procedure is not invasive. You don't have any scarring from it. It's literally, it takes 25 minutes. The kids get put under like anesthesia. It's one of the more, it's like one of the easiest procedures a child can go through. And yeah, they can fall out. And some kids, when they have the tubes fall out, they don't need another set. Like my son, he got a set of tubes because he had chronic ear infections when he was around 2 years old. And my son has no scars from his. You act like it's not common. Ear tubes are super common. Ear tubes are super common. It's not common for kids to have multiple sets. Some people need multiple sets. And the reason why it's super common is it's because of the way the anatomy is of the child's body and like the way that the ear canal is formed in a toddler and a baby is different that as you get older, and as you grow, your ear canals change and you don't get as many infections.